Well, welcome today to another episode of Music with Tony, and I'm Tony, your host, and yeah, what an exciting day. I got, so I was out the other day, and it was the other morning, and I was just sitting in my vehicle, and I heard this bird singing, and it was actually two separate birds at different times, and I was able to record it, and so I'm going to share that in a little bit here. Some bird songs, which is cool. To me, I love I've shared this so many times, pretty much every episode, but like, I love the nature and natural sounds and God's creation. It's just fascinating. It's amazing to me, all the different animals and songs that, you know, the birds sing. Every different, like, breed of bird is so different how they communicate and talk, and it sounds like this beautiful song. And I think it's pretty cool. Today we're going to go through some scales. We're going to go through the A scale today, and I'm just going to start, this is really for beginners. If you're looking to understand music theory and looking to be able to, like, if you've been wanting to go further and you're not really sure how, well, I hope this will help you, because it helped me when I first started. And many years ago, when I was playing, I started playing guitar, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I would just basically throw my hand on the guitar and just, and then I'd figure out, well, what chord is this? And so it was very random. And then I started learning music theory, and I started off with this thing called the circle of notes, I call it. And I don't remember where I learned it from or picked it up, but all I know is it helped me tremendously to understand music theory. And once you get this, it's so simple, because it's based off of a numerical kind of formula. So like, you hear the terms like 1-4-5 or 1-3-5, and that's the makeup of chords. And then you got diminished chords, and then you have seventh chords and major sevenths, and there's a formula to all of those. And then, so what this does is this shows you what each note makes up the chord. And so this is the cool part. And once you learn this, it's really, it's amazing. And also, like, as a guitar player, it's very, very efficient. And, especially if you're doing leads and stuff, to know, what scale you're playing in, what key, and, what chords are being played. And then you can kind of, like, if you know what chords are being played, even if it's not all in the same key, because sometimes, there might be mix and match chords, like, just mixing together, but you can change it up and play along with what notes are in that chord. And so you accompany that. And playing bass is really, it's really pivotal to learn the music theory, because it just really is. To be a solid bass player, you have to know what you're hitting, and not be afraid of flats and sharps. Like, I know it can be scary. You're like, oh, you think of a flat. I don't want to, touch a flat. But really, all it is just, it's a mind thing, because, like, a lot of people over the years I've met are afraid or don't do it because it's difficult, but it's really not difficult. Once you learn the theory, it's like, whether you hit here, F sharp, or a G, or, you're going to, an A, a B flat, it doesn't matter, because you're hitting, you know where you're going. And so it doesn't matter what the label is, it's still the same, you're hitting it with your hands. And so hopefully that makes some sense. So anyway, I'm going to start off with a song today that I wrote, I don't know, about a year ago or something like that. And, and I just wrote, it's called God is Good. And I am a big believer in that. And I'm like, so I just wanted to write a song that it's kind of a happy, upbeat song, and just kind of how I was sharing that day about, just my expression of, how I appreciate God in my life. And so it's called God is Good. God is good, oh, all the time. God is good, oh, all the time. God is good, oh, all the time. He never leaves me alone. God is good, ooh, all the time. God is good, oh, all the time. God is good, ooh, all the time. And He never leaves me alone. Oh, no. I hear Him calling, calling out my name. I hear Him calling, calling out my name. I hear Him calling, calling out my name. I hear Him calling. Out my name. I hear Him calling, oh, out my name, yeah. And He's saying, I love, oh, you. Well, you're my child. I love you. You're my child, yeah. And I say, well, God is good, ooh, all the time. God is good, oh, all the time. God is good, ooh, all the time. And He never leaves me alone. Yeah, God is good all the time. Oh, He's so good, ooh, all the time. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, God is good. So some songs, when I play them, it's encouraging to me, and it reminds me, especially when I'm having bad days and, rough days or whatever, I can play a song and it just it picks me up and gets encouraged. So I do. All right, so I'm going to do one more song here. Before we get into the music theory. And this song I wrote this many years ago, and remember I was up north in Michigan and just walking on a dirty, like a dirt road, a dusty road, and I could smell the wood burning in the air of, people, the wood burning stoves, and it just, it was in the fall, and it just kind of, it was very like, I don't know, just kind of like, it was one of those moments for me where just like time kind of stopped for a few minutes, and you just take everything in, and it's just reflection, but this song is called "In Your Presence," and that's kind of, I was just thinking about life and the simple things in life, like that, like smelling the wood burning, and walking down the road and just seeing, squirrels running around and playing in the trees and the birds flying around, and, so anyway, here we go. dusty road with no end in sight. Will I feel your presence so near? It's like you're walking next to me, and I feel safe in your arms. Well, just knowing that you're near. For the first time in a long time, I feel your fire burning deep inside. I see the chains being broken off from the things that once held me down. Oh, for so long. And it feels good to be free from those chains that were holding me. I'm so consumed by your presence right now. I don't want to leave here at all. Oh, no, no. There's this burning deep inside of me. Feels like you're cleaning out my heart. Oh, yes, it feels like you're cleaning out my heart. Well, I don't want to go from this time, no. Just another few minutes, Lord, you know I feel so alive. I don't want to go from this place, no, no. Just another few minutes, Lord, you know I feel so alive. Ooh, so alive. Oh, with you near. So consumed by your presence right now. Well, I don't want to leave here at all. Oh, no, no. I feel this fire burning inside of me. It feels like you're cleaning out my heart. Well, I don't want to go from this time. Oh, no, no, no. Another few minutes, Lord, you know I feel so alive. Well, I don't want to go from this place. Oh, no, no, no. Another few minutes, Lord, you know I feel so alive. We're so alive. Yeah, yeah. You know, the beauty of songwriting is when you sing, sometimes you can sing out this chord progression, and maybe it's super simple like what this was. It's just three really easy chords, but yet it pulls, for me, there's a certain emotion that's tied to this song that it pulls out like this intensity that is good. It's not like a stressful intensity. It's a relaxing, like it just feels like this build, and for what you're singing about. And that's the beauty of like music, is being able to express, vocally too, and like just be able to pour out what's inside. And I love music. You hear me say that probably most episodes, and it's for a reason. It's like I love music with a passion, and I want other people to experience music and be able to experience in such a passion that I have too, in your own way though, like where you get to be you're creating music, and you're doing things that are meaningful to you, and you're singing about things that are meaningful to you and have relevancy in your life, and creates that passion. So yeah, that's kind of, this song for me is really, it's an expression where I can just kind of sing out, and I really like it. All right, well, let's, so I got a few things I want to share. I have two recordings of those birds. I believe they're two different birds. So here we go. The first one, I just thought it was very just pretty, just listening to these things. It was just so pretty. And in my recording app, I use a recording app on my phone also to, like when I get a song idea, and it just, then I record on there a rough, idea, so I don't forget it anymore. But I also use it for other recordings and stuff, and it's very clear. It's pretty cool, actually. So here's the first one I'm going to play. And I thought it was pretty cool because it's almost identical. So there's like three different points where it's like this same pattern. Oops. There we go. The same pattern, repetitive, but it was almost down to the T. And it was so cool listening to it. And it just reminded me of a song, because songs are like that too. Very, we make patterns, and then kind of sing along with that same kind of melody and stuff. So I don't know, it's just kind of cool. So here's the other one I recorded. So the two are very different, like that one had a lot more, actually like a lot more like detail to it, like, and it was kind of more random and sporadic, but yet the tones were going high and low, and it was kind of like all over the place. And I just thought it was cool. So it's fun to just listen to the beauty around us, and you never know what you're going to hear. if you hear a roaring sound, I'd probably stay in your car and run. Drive, or, well, you can't outrun a bear, so just, yeah, stay away from the growling sounds though. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I just like sharing stuff like that, and it really made my day. You know, it just like started off my morning with a nice morning. I'm like, hey, you know, this is great. The birds are singing. Hey, I'll go do some singing myself. All right, so some music theory. So I'm going to go through at some point through our sessions all 13 scales, which is A through A. And you know, as we go along, we have my email address here, musicwithtonyshow@gmail.com. And feel free to ask any questions. I want to help you learn, and it will increase your playing. It will increase your understanding of music, and you'll find yourself being able to sit down and play with the radio, and you'll be like, oh, they're playing in the key of D. Okay, well, you know, and you'll start figuring out chords, and you'll start, you know, being able to play not only by ear, but like you'll know where they're gonna, you know, like as they're playing, you'll know, for the most part, you know, where you're going, unless they throw in a goofy chord. But a lot of the mainstream stuff is the same. Yeah, they stick with the pretty much, you know, pretty major scales and stuff. Maybe throw in minors, but I mean, it's still, it's easy to play along with. So so we're gonna start off. So I call this here the circle of notes, and I call it that because there's 13 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, well, 13. So it's really 12. Anyway, so what I did is I circled, because we're doing, this is the key of A. So our pattern starts off with this here. So it's going to go, here's I labeled this out so that you'll come to understand this more as you get involved with it. And like, you know, you've heard, I'm sure at some point, you know, like, oh, 1, 3, 5, you know, what is that? Well, this particular chord for an A chord is 1, 3, 5. So maybe you're like, well, I'm not sure what that means. So what I used to do a lot was I would write it down. So I would go to this circle of notes, and then I would be like, okay, I want to know what is the key of A. So I would start off at A, which is the root, and then I do a whole step. So what a whole step is 2 notes. So this would be a half and then a whole. So we start off with the root, and then it's a whole step from there, a whole step from there, and then a half step, and then a whole step, and then whole step. And you'll wind up every single time right half step underneath the root. So it's pretty neat though, because so now, you know, so all the ones that are circled are actually the key of A. So we got our, we start off with our A, then a B, C sharp, then we go to our D, E, F sharp, and then over here we got our A flat, and so that's our 7 notes. So now that we have our 7 for figuring out the scale, what we'll do is we'll come over here to this chart, and I have them labeled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the root is going to be the A, the second will be the B, the third will be the C sharp, the fourth will be the D, the fifth will be the E, the sixth will be the F sharp, and then the 7th will be the A flat. And so now that we know that, now we can figure out, well, what kind of chord do we want? Do we want a major? Do we want a minor? Do you want to diminish? Do you want a 7th? There's a whole list of formulas that you can do that will show you, okay, you can do a 1, 3, 5 flat 7. And so that would be a 7th actually. So here we're going to just start off simple with the major, which is A major. So 1, 3, 5. So we go here, the 1 is the root, and then the 3, you come over here to the C sharp, and then you go over to the 5, which is the E. And so really it's pretty simple. Once you learn like your notes and what comes after what note and what is before, it's just memorizing that circle of notes. memorizing that circle and realizing it's a ring. It just keeps going around and around. So, I mean, wherever you start, that's where you'll wind up again. So this just kind of keeps moving as you change keys. So if you want to go to the key of B or C sharp or D or A flat, you know, you use this as a guide to do so. And it will help you as time goes along. It's going to help you to, once you get to know your scales, and then you'll start remembering in your head, oh yeah, I know what the key of A is, and then you'll be able to transpose that over to your instrument. So whatever instrument you're playing, you'll know your notes. So like, you know, bass is tuned, you know, geez, I'm having a brain fart now. E, A, D, G. And then, you know, your guitar is E, A, D, G, then B, E. So, but, you know, some like a mandolin is tuned different, a ukulele is tuned different. So, but it doesn't matter though, because whatever your string starts on, so let's say it's, you know, A, D, G, B, you know, going down, you would just be like, you know what comes after an A. Well, that's going to be an A sharp, B flat. And then after that is going to be a B and then a C. So no matter where you start, you'll get to know your instrument and you'll get to know where you're playing. And especially like when you're doing guitar leads and stuff and also bass playing, you'll know exactly what you're hitting. So, you know, you could be playing an A note, but also you could do something, you know, if the song is lingering out on an A note, you could do some alternate notes on your bass, you know. You could do like, you know, the fifth, and then you could do a sharp fifth, and then you could do like a sixth, and then walk back down again. And it sounds really cool when it's mixed with it, because it's all in the same key of, you know, that A. So I hope this helps out a little bit, and I'll be going through, you know, every week I'm going to start pulling out different scales. So we'll go through, and don't be afraid of those flats and sharps, folks. It's just a visual thing, and you know, it's once you learn the patterns for things, it's you know, it's like, especially chords, like once we get in the bar chords and stuff, I'll show you, and they're movable patterns, so you can play whatever you want, and it's the same pattern. You just kind of, you know, you move it up and down the guitar. Excuse me. So yeah, this is a start for today. So this, I'll just kind of hold these up, and you can kind of take a peek at them, and then, yep, so today is key of A. So, all right. Well, I have some chord charts here that I wanted to share with. So since we're on the key of A, here's actually an A chord. So this is the A chord. So usually with this chord, you're playing with, you know, you could play it a few different ways. You could play it with these 3 fingers. So you could do, you know, and these are, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it's numbered for when you, you know, like, because sometimes what you'll have in chord books, you'll have like, it'll be a circle and then it'll be like a 1 in there, or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. That's a finger notation. I didn't do that because I'll just explain it as we go along. So here, if you look over here in this column, we have X and O's, and they're not hugs and kisses. Today they are muted. So an X is a muted string, so which means you're just not going to play at all that E string. Now an O means open. So you're going to be open A. So this string here is going to be open, and then here you could have your fingers 1, 2, and 3. So you could do finger 1, 2, and 3, and then that's open down here also. So your E string's open. So that's going to sound like. So it's going to sound like. So the hard part sometimes with these chords is because you do mute strings and other strings are open. So you might find yourself, you know, if you're just starting out and don't have that control yet, that's okay. It's something you can work on over time. In muting strings, it's you're going to work your fingers, you know, to be able to get it so they don't vibrate. You want a nice, clear sound when you're playing, you know, whatever chord it is. So you don't want something like you know, which when you're first starting out, you're going to get a lot of that. And don't be discouraged by it, because that's perfectly normal. I don't care who you are, you know, everybody who starts out playing is in the same boat. We all did the same thing. So, you know, you're trying to fumble through and, you know, looking at your hands. And one good habit to get into is don't watch your hand, your right hand. Get to know the strings and you feel them, you know, and so you want a nice clear sound on that. So yeah, you want a nice clear sound. All right, so I will show this again. And this is a very standard chord. This is very, very popular, especially in the country world and rock. I mean, really, it's just a very common chord. So this is one of the chords you're going to want to get to know. And you know, it takes some practice to get your fingers squeezed into the frets, because you're like, you know, you're literally right next to each other trying to, you know, hold them all in there and squeeze them without making noises, you know, and getting a nice sound to it. So it'll take practice, but don't be discouraged though. You know, just keep on doing it, then all of a sudden you're going to find, oh wow, I can play this and it sounds great. You know, like, oh, I can strum it and there's no weird sounds like where it's getting muted, or, you know, you'll get to the place where it'll be natural for you. All right, so our next chord is along the same scales. We're going to do an A minor. So the A minor here looks like that. So again, it's going to be a muted E string up top here, and then your A string is open, and then here, so we have your how I play this is I usually do my first finger down here, and then I do my second and third. So I kind of play, I'll show you. So I kind of do my finger down there, and then, so second up top, and then the third finger underneath that. And then if you're switching to an A minor to an A, which is really easy because it's only, so you know how you had your fingers before, this time you're using your second, third, and fourth, and then you can switch back super easy, so you don't have to keep like fumbling your whole hand around. You just move a few fingers, depending on, you know, what you're playing and if the song is switching to that. So that's an A minor, and that's another very popular chord. A lot of songs you've heard has that chord in it. So, all right, I will show this again. So again, this is the A minor. So the E string is muted, and then A is open, and then you have your first finger here, then your second and third finger is comfortable, but you can figure out your fingering too, because it might be comfortable to do it maybe a different way. You know, that's I work on doing different formations too, like using my fingers different in different situations, like playing an E chord, for instance. You know, usually you're playing it with your first finger, same format as the A minor, just everything's up here, moved everything up a string. But sometimes I'll play like this and leave this finger open because I want to go to, you know, like different, you know, play a G open like that, or slide to an E. Anyway, it just allows you more flexibility. So like learning how to use your fingers for different, you know, same chord, but just, you know, different fingerings to it. It can help you move to different chord progressions in the future. It's a good thing to practice, and it'll be very uncomfortable in first. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but it's good because it makes you flexible, and it allows you to move up and down the fretboard as you get to know more chords and chord progressions, and you get comfortable, and you can play a lot of different inversions of things, chords and stuff that because your fingers are you're allowing them to be flexible, like dexterity, I guess you could say. All right, so we got the A minor, and now here, so this is a 7th chord. Oh, and I'm sorry, you know what? I didn't go through. So the actual numerical formula for this is a 1, flat 3, 5. So what we do is, so on our scale sheet here, so key of A, so A minor, which I do have it written here because it's one of the most popular chords, you know, a major and minor. You'll want to know both of them. But it's 1, flat 3, 5, and I have it written out. So this is going to start with a 1, which is the root, A, and then 3, which we know is the C sharp. Well, if you flat the 3, it's in between the 2 and 3, which is a half step. So a half step below C sharp is going to be a C. So you'd be having the C there, and then your 5th is going to be the same. It's an E, but it changes the dynamic of that chord. So that's what a minor is: a 1, flat 3, excuse me, 5, and then a major is 1, 3, 5. All right, and this chord, I like the 7th chords. They're a lot of fun. They're very, in a lot of the blues, you know, like blues and country, they have a lot of 7ths in them, especially blues. And so it gives a really cool sound to it. And here, so what we have is the muted E string. And then we have the A, which is going to be open. And then here we have, you can play this a few ways. You could play it with your 1st and 2nd finger, or you could play it with your 1st and 3rd finger. You could play it with you really can play it with whatever you want on this hand. So it's whatever's comfortable for you. I would say probably, actually, that's probably the most popular way to play it, which is going to be your 2nd and 3rd. So it should sound like, and then here's your A major, your A chord, and then you can hear the difference between that and, so it's a little bit difference. So the 7th formula, excuse me, is a little bit different too. So it's a 1, 3, 5, and then flat 7th. So we'll look on our chart here. So what we have is, you know, we've got our listing now of our scales 1 through 7, and each individual note and what it is, since we figured out the A. So it's going to be a 1, which is an A, 3, which is a C sharp, 5, which is an E. Then here, you see there's not a flat 7th. Well, we have to flat that. So again, it's going to be a half step. So in between the 6 and the 7, so there's a half step. So that's going to be a half step down below G, which is going to be, excuse me. Actually, I think I have this E, F sharp. You know what? That should be an A flat. I'm sorry. That should be an A flat. So actually, yeah, I just mismarked that. So the 7th on this chord is actually, this is supposed to be, for this scale, it's supposed to be an A flat. So I apologize about that. So the G here, though, actually inadvertently is what makes it a 7th. So that would actually be the flat 7th. So the 7th here is actually going to be an A flat. So it would be F sharp and then A flat for there. So yeah, can't believe I messed that up. Oh well. I'm not perfect. One night I spent doing, you know, it's probably 3 hours on this, writing out each scale, every scale for 13 scales, and then doing it like twice for all of that. So I just probably, this is towards the tail end. Anyway, So I'll fix that. I'll make a new chord. But anyway, so that's so the seventh. So the flat seventh would actually be the G. So yeah. There's a cool little progression I like to do with two of the chords I showed you. So it's the A, then there's the A major seventh, which is the seventh, which is supposed to be the A flat, and then the seventh. It's a cool little progression. You'll probably know it best when you hear it in this line. Which is the Beatles, Something, George Harrison's. Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Anyway, so that's a really, like, Beatles use that progression a lot, that walk down. They actually use quite a few. They did a lot of major to minor switches too, which is really cool. So you'd be like, do, 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 you know, and then their vocal harmonies would go along with it. But it's a cool switch. You didn't hear that a lot back then. So yeah, so that's today's on music theory. And so any questions on today, just please feel free to give me an email, or you can post on the YouTube site, SAPA's YouTube, Music with Tony, and make some comments. I'll be glad to get back with you. And I'm gonna play another song here. So when I do songs, sometimes I just like sitting down and making up on the fly. And I just kind of go through my brain the whole repertoire of chords that I know, and I just start playing. And sometimes words just start coming out, and other times I just like listening to the melodies. I just want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you'll get information out of this that will help you become a better musician. And I think that as musicians, those who we've learned a lot of stuff should teach everybody else who wants to play. It's something we should share with each other, because we all have different styles we like too, and to be able to share those styles with other people, and you listen to somebody else who's an original musician and they create their own music, it's going to be different from stuff that you make and I make. It's cool. I love listening to other musicians' stuff and like homegrown, and just hearing like chord progressions they use and vocal things, and it's just so neat, and so we should encourage each other, and anyway, I just hope that I can share some of this knowledge with you and be able to help you progress, especially in music theory, because music theory can be scary. When you hear of music theory, it's like this huge, monster in the closet. And it's like you don't want to really tackle it. You think it's too big to handle, but the truth is it just needs to be broken down into small sections and to be understood, and it's really not that bad. It just takes, it's like anything, it just takes a little time and understanding and patience, to understand the basis of it. So yeah, I just wanted to remind you too, with if there's anybody who you need prayer for something, please let me know. I have people who we love praying for people because there's power in prayer. And prayer is just communication with God, and He loves you no matter where you're at or no matter how far you think you are from Him. It doesn't change His love at all. I don't care how far you've gone off. It doesn't matter, because He's there, right there with open arms and waiting for you to come back, And there's a story in the Bible, which I really love this story, and Jesus is talking about it when He was down on this earth. And, He would leave the 99, the shepherd would leave the 99 to go chase after the one that was way off in the distance, because that's how much, He loved His flock, and He loves people, and He doesn't want to see anybody lost. And so, I just want to be encouraged, and if you need prayer for anything, big or small, it doesn't matter. Just feel free to send me an email at musicwithtony@gmail.com, and we will pray for you. So, and if you have any questions, of course, on the music, absolutely just ask your questions and be glad to answer. And and if there's a song that I do that you're interested in learning some of the chords, or you're interested in that, or even if you have a song that you are trying to write and you're not really sure how to go about it, well, if you'd like, you could send some lyrics, and we could work something out, to where it could maybe come up with some chords on the show. And if it would be encouraging for you, and you don't know how else to put chords to it, and if it's something you like, then you know what, it's yours. So the possibility is wide open. Songwriting is something that if you're wanting to get into songwriting, please stay tuned too, because I'm going to share a little bit about that, and in writing music. And I kind of do, but it's really it's just, for me, I don't know, writing music is different for everybody, but it should be something that's a passion for you. If you're going to write something, then write something with passion that has something with meaning to you, because it's going to be so much better of a song than just writing something just to write it. But when you can sing wholeheartedly on something that you believe in, and it's so amazing, because then you just belt it out, and there's no limits. You're coming out with it. World, here it comes. So, yeah, well, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I look forward to you tuning in next time. And thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great week, and take care.